Welcome to day 2 of the Mindset Reset. Today, we're talking about something that most people live inside their entire lives without even realizing it: the survival script. The survival script is the automatic programming you inherited from your past, your environment, your old identity, and the version of you that was simply trying to get through life. It's the mindset that keeps you reactive instead of creative, cautious instead of powerful, limited instead of expansive. If day 1 was about identity, day 2 is about breaking the internal script that has been running your identity for years without your permission. Let's get right into it. The survival script is subtle. It hides in your habits. It hides in your excuses. It hides in the stories you repeat to yourself about why things are the way they are. It hides in statements like, "This is just who I am. This is just how life is. This is what I'm used to. This is what people like me do," or "I don't know if I'm ready." The survival script is the voice that tells you to stay where it's safe, even if where you are is slowly suffocating your potential. Here's the truth: you were never meant to live in survival. You were meant to grow, expand, evolve, and express more of who you truly are. But when your mind is programmed by old fears, old trauma, old failures, old opinions, or old versions of yourself, you stop choosing your life and start coping with it. Survival becomes the default mode. And if you don't consciously break that script, it becomes the invisible cage that keeps you from ever reaching the life you actually want. Today is about breaking that cage. Before we go deeper, I want you to understand something powerful. The survival script was created to protect you, not punish you. Your brain is always trying to keep you safe. It tries to prevent pain, uncertainty, or embarrassment. But when the brain doesn't update the rules to match who you're becoming, the survival script becomes outdated protection. It keeps you small long after smallness is no longer necessary. It keeps you repeating patterns long after those patterns have expired. It keeps you in places you've outgrown. So you're not broken, you're simply operating from an old script that needs to be rewritten. Let's talk about how the survival script shows up. It shows up when you shrink your dreams to match your comfort zone. It shows up when you lower your standards to keep peace instead of speaking truth. It shows up when you avoid risks because you don't want to feel exposed. It shows up when you hesitate even though your spirit is telling you to move. It shows up when you settle for less because feels familiar. It shows up when your body wants to grow, but your mind is still clinging to the version of you who didn't think they deserved more. Let me ask you something. Where has your survival script been running your whole life? Where have you been reacting instead of creating? Where have you been living safe instead of living aligned? Where have you been negotiating with your potential? Day 2 is about identifying those places and breaking the mental loops that keep recreating the same old life. There are 3 parts to breaking the survival script. First, awareness, becoming conscious of the programming. Second, interruption, stopping the pattern the moment it shows up. Third, replacement, choosing a higher thought, higher identity, and higher action that matches your future instead of your past. We'll talk through each one. Awareness is the moment you see the script for what it is. You catch yourself thinking small. You notice the old fear. You recognize the self-doubt. This is powerful because you can't change a script you can't see. Once you see the programming, it loses its power. Interruption is where transformation begins. It's the moment you say, "Not this time." It's the moment you stop mid-thought, mid-spiral, or mid-pattern and refuse to continue repeating the old story. Even if the new identity isn't fully formed yet, stopping the pattern is progress. Interruptions are how you weaken the survival script. Replacement is where you upgrade your life. Every time you interrupt the script, you replace it with a thought a higher version of you would choose. You replace fear with truth. You replace limitation with possibility. You replace doubt with identity. You replace hesitation with action. And the more you replace the script, the weaker it becomes, until eventually the survival mindset is no longer your automatic mode. This is how you break the script permanently. Now let's talk about something deeper. Your survival script didn't just come from your past. It came from other people's survival scripts. Parents who were stressed taught you to worry. Environments that were chaotic taught you to prepare for the worst. People who were limited taught you to limit yourself. Society conditioned you to play small. The problem is, none of that programming was chosen by you, but today you get to choose. You're not here to repeat your past, you're here to rewrite it. I want you to ask yourself something. If you fully released the survival script today, how would you show up differently? What dreams would you move toward? What opportunities would you say yes to? What habits would you stop tolerating? What standards would you raise? What fears would you outgrow? How much more confident would you feel? How much more at peace? The gap between who you are now and who you want to become is measured by the parts of the survival script you haven't released yet. And releasing them is the work of this course. So today, make a decision. You're done acting from fear. You're done shrinking your life to fit outdated programming. You're done letting old stories dictate your future. You're done negotiating with your power. You're done being pulled backward by a script that was written by people who never had your destiny. This is the moment you let that script go. This is the moment you step into a new mental landscape. This is the moment you choose to operate from truth instead of fear, from vision instead of memory, from intention instead of habit. Today, you stop surviving and start creating. Breaking the survival script is not about perfection. It's about intention. It's about creating space between the old you and the new you, and choosing the new you more often than not. Every time you choose growth over fear, you weaken the script. Every time you choose possibility over limitation, you weaken the script. Every time you choose alignment over avoidance, you weaken the script. Eventually, the survival script becomes irrelevant. And the creator identity, the identity you're building, becomes your natural state. The rest of this course will help you step even deeper into that identity. But for now, commit to this truth. Your life is not meant to be lived in repetition. It's meant to be lived in expansion. The survival script ends today. Creation begins now.